An exciting day. I think one of the great things about participating in the NCAA tournament is Selection Sunday and hearing your name actually called. And you can run a million scenarios prior to and start looking at who, what, where, and it really doesn't matter. And it sometimes doesn't go as planned. We had a pretty good idea. We were going to be locked in the 3-4 area, depending on what happened in some of the outcomes. But so it's a great day. You're one of 68, and there's 357 of us or whatever there are, and you're one of 68. We're a 4 seed, and we've got a great opponent who's won a lot of games. They've got very good players. We'll dive into the individual piece after I'm done here in terms of what that team looks like. But again, anytime you find a conference winner, a team who's won as many games as they have, they understand winning. So we're excited. We'll, been to Pittsburgh before and played in the tournament and looking forward to that opportunity again.
Okay, questions for the players?
Sir, Kofi and Trent, first time you've had this kind of like celebration moment in 3 years here. What was this like? It seemed like it was more muted, kind of business-like. What was your emotions going through that?
I thought it was special, especially like not having that last year. But to actually be able to see our name get called on, TV, and us be a part of it. But most importantly, like having March Madness, like for the first time, back in full capacity with fans. So we're excited. We're super pumped. Like Coach said, we're ready. To get going, get prepared. So it was a special moment.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. Even though we didn't have the experience last year of just having like Trent said, full capacity and like actually watching the show and being here for media and stuff. We're really dialed in and we're ready to to take that next step and go compete in the NCAA tournament. So it was really special for us.
Coleman, Coach said that you guys kind of knew you're going to be a 3 or a 4. So just when you got to that point in the bracket, like I know there's like in the first region, there's a little like anticipation when Arkansas got the 4. Were you just waiting for that?
Yeah, for sure. And then just in, kind of anticipating 3 or 4, and then just waiting on what area we're going to be in. That's what we're all about. But I mean, I kind of had the feeling that we were going to be on that side of the bracket, and if you look at that side, it's also a very tough side. So I'm definitely looking forward to it now.
Do any of you have friends that play for Chattanooga? All right, and did you talk to each other about wearing the shades?
Oh yeah, we did. Planned out.
Nobody told me anything.
Kofi didn't get the memo.
I mean, it was a muted celebration. You guys kind of just clapped. What was the mindset going into this? I mean, is it like a business thing, or how did you guys talk about how you were going to approach that moment when you heard your name?
Yeah, it's definitely a business thing, man. We've been here before. We've been to the tournament last year, and we know how that feeling was. So we're not trying to get too high right now. We're prepared to go out there and play the hardest. And just go out there and compete at the highest level. So we're more focused on not celebrating right now, but celebrating in the long run when we complete the task.
This is for Kofi mostly. You returned to Illinois in that video, or however you announced your return. You said you wanted to build your legacy. How important is it for you to go to a second weekend in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, it's very important, especially for these guys. Trent. Who knew that Trent and DeMonte and those guys were going to get an opportunity to come back? So I think it's really important that those guys, with the experience that I had last year, being in that locker room, crying and just regretting that we didn't play our best. I don't think we'll have that. I know we won't have that feeling this year because we're prepared and we're gonna tell the younger guys we're gonna get them prepared for it. What it is. So I think we're gonna be on point this year.
Trent, Kofi spoke about having the experience of being there. From your standpoint as a leader on this team, how will you approach it, having been to the NCAA tournament, getting these guys ready to have to go a better route this time?
I think the most important thing is, experience-wise, is Coach talked about it a lot. it don't matter what your record is or what seed you is. You just got to be better that night. And you know, I think, like you said, with experience last year, us having the 1 seed, we weren't ready for that, and we weren't the best that night. So I think, like Kofi said, you know, our mindset right now, as you know, selection show called our name, is just more focused, you know, on trying to go out every night and advance, you know, and that's the most important thing on our mind right now is, you know, just trying to advance every week and just stay focused.
As for Coleman, what have the last couple days been like for you guys as you've maybe recalibrated or reset a little bit?
Kind of just relax. Like Coach was telling us, you know, it's good to get a day off before all this. Just kind of get back into the right mindset, get your mind focused on preparing for, you know, what, you know, could possibly be the end of your season. You know, we're only guaranteed one more game, and kind of just laser focusing on that. And just, yeah, like I said, have the right mindset for the next couple of weeks.
Kofi, you basically get a week off games. What's that do for your body, for your legs heading into the tournament?
It just gives you opportunity, you know, to dial in more. You know, it's not just on your body. It gives you opportunity to rest more. Obviously, because you're not playing, but you know, just get mentally focused. You know, we get more time to prep, more time to prepare for these guys. Like we said, you know, it's one game and you could be out there. You know, so we just want to take this time and dial in and make sure that we're mentally prepared and focused. You know, on the common goal. So it's, this week is definitely big time for us to just come in. You know, to get better. You know, get up shots. You know, we didn't shoot the ball well last game, but this opportunity is great for us to get up shots. You know, let's tighten up those little things that we need to win.
Coleman, I know Coach always wants a chip on your shoulder, so when you hear Seth Davis say Chattanooga's going to the Sweet 16, what was your reaction?
I mean, I already know that there's going to be a lot of people, you know, betting against us. A lot of people had hope in us last year, and we didn't, you know, have the outcome we wanted. But you know, there's always going to be people that don't believe in us. But you know, we're not going to really focus on that. We're just going to keep it one game at a time. You know, hopefully prove anyone who doubts us wrong. So.
Trent, I kind of want to go back to just being able to be with each other and watching the show. I mean, that's the first experience for you, even though you guys really kind of made 3 tournaments. The one was canceled. What was that like? I mean, just to have that moment with one another.
It's special. Like I said at the beginning, especially to see our names get called, being a part together, especially for the freshmen, their first time being on the team. But I think as I see this, you know, Kofi, you know, us, Monte, Jake, we still have that bad taste in our mouth of being eliminated in the second round. So, you know, yes, it's special, but we can't, you know, we don't try to lose track of, you know, what happened last year and try to learn from it and go on because, you know, like I said, seeds don't matter. You just got to be better that night, and we got to take that, you know, into perspective and try to be the best, you know, every night and go out there and just play hard.
For any of you guys, I don't know how much you pay attention to like where the sites are, but before today, did you think like it would be cool to play in this city or this city, or like do you guys even think along those lines?
I mean, I don't think the location matters. You gotta win the game. You gotta survive in advance. I mean, I don't really see the locations. I'm not going there for vacation. We got a goal. We're trying to get to the Final Four, possibly farther than that. But we have one goal, and that's to continue to survive in advance every night. So we don't really look at, you know, the palm trees that we're going to. So.
Before today, there was only one location that I knew that I even thought about. It was New Orleans. You know, I heard about that from Trent. You know, he told us like that's where the Final Four was, and that's been my goal since he told me that. I had no care in the world about what the other locations were. That's my goal right now. So we're gonna get there.
Were any of you aware of the history of the Chattanooga versus Illini in the NCAA tournament?
Not until today, you know, but we could guarantee you that history will not repeat. You know, we're dialing right now. We're mentally focused, and we take it one step at a time. But our goal is like I said before I came back. My goal is to play in that last game, and everybody has the same focus right now. So I definitely highly doubt that issue will repeat itself with how hard we're gonna play.
Were you guys even born then?
No.
So they wouldn't know. But yeah.
So you did talk about it in the ready room.
No, I literally just heard it before I came to this room.
There's literally only 2 other Big Ten teams in the South. Do you guys welcome a chance to see like other faces in the next couple weeks?
Repeat that.
There's only 2 other Big Ten teams in your side of the bracket. Do you guys like welcome the opportunity to see teams not from the Big Ten?
Oh, of course. I mean, we're tired of the Big Ten right now, to be honest. We're trying to stay away from those guys. It's been obviously a tough year. We've been beating each other up. Really physical, long season, as you can see. But yeah, we're tired of them right now. But like I said, our main focus right now is taking the day-by-day preparation this week leading up to Friday, and just continue to have the focus of just surviving in advance.
I personally don't care who it is. We were the #1 seed in the Big Ten. Let's not forget.
Kofi, when you returned to Illinois, did you envision this kind of day and this kind of moment with your teammates, and how did it compare to maybe what you thought it would be over the summer?
Yeah, absolutely. I envisioned it. Like I said, that was one of the reasons why I chose to come back with these guys. I knew how good we were, and I still don't think we've come close to hitting that peak, or getting to as good as we can get. We're still learning, we're still getting better. But I definitely envisioned this. These guys are really tough guys. They're winners. They want to win, and they want to get better every day. So, just getting the opportunity to be selected today and to be around these guys and have that moment, it was incredible, and I definitely saw it.
Anything else for the students? All right. Thank you.
See you guys in the morning.
Yes, sir. For the players.
Because I'm a player. Be ready.
Never a bad day for Kofi.
Brett, I don't know if you asked Seth to do that, but is that fuel for your fire when he says March since we see?
I don't pay attention, but yeah, I mean, sure. Anytime somebody, doesn't believe in you, I mean, you want to, try to prove them wrong. But that's a small piece of this. The mocks are pretty good, and we'll have to play really well.
I mean, you talked about going into today, just running through a million different scenarios. And was Chattanooga one of those? And I guess when did you maybe start prepping for however many teams you prepped for?
We had it down to 3. I mean, we were down to 3 as a 14, and we were down to 3 and they were spot on. I mean, you can pretty much narrow it down. There's so many analytics today. The only thing we didn't know is what value there would be in Kofi's absences. We had 2 losses without Kofi. We've had 1 without Jake. So we didn't know if that would play into much. I thought it did early in their first reveal. We were 3, but that's okay. The seeds. The games are all hard. It's doesn't matter, and you got to show up. You're gonna have to play somebody really good, and it's probably a conference champion and won a boatload of games, and so we're quite fine with that. But we had a pretty good idea where we were going to be seated.
Coaches, essentially this is 3 years in a row qualifying for the tournament. First one you didn't go, but can you just comment on where the program is at now, big picture wise? And the one thing you haven't done is make a deep run in the tournament. How important is that?
I mean, we got upset last year. I mean, that I think that that's happened to every program throughout the existence of the NCAA tournament, and it's what makes the NCAA tournament unique. It's really been 1 year because we didn't play the other year, but you don't. I don't worry about it. You show up, you compete, and if you're good enough that day, you get to advance. And I think we've proven we can beat a lot of really good teams. I think we just beat a team that's playing better than anybody in the country in Iowa. And, you know, so, you know, we lost in overtime to Arizona, who's in our bracket. So, I feel pretty good.
I know you guys probably would have enjoyed being in Indianapolis right now, but today, what was it like just for the normalcy and being able to get, like, you guys were on a ladder last year where they called your name, just to be able to have a sense of normalcy for the celebration of the show?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to be on a ladder again. Championships are hard to, you know, my hat's off to Fran and his group, but you know, it was also a unique experience last year. We played with such a chip. You know, we were out to prove something throughout the course of the 20-game regular season it didn't go our way in terms of winning the title. You know, we were ticked off. I mean, that, you know, you play 20 games, win most games, and don't win a title. When in the history of life has that ever happened? We were ticked off, so we played with a purpose. We had tremendous energy those 3 nights, and yet we just had a little bit of flat. I mean, I couldn't get them going again, and you know, our guys didn't know either. You know, I've said that many times. Tyler was the only guy who'd been in that locker room as an NCAA tournament participant, and you have to know the abruptness of the end, and what that's like if you don't play well. So, you know, we'll address that. But it was nice to really have an off day yesterday, and Trent was dunking balls today, and I mean, I've seen Trent dunk in a long time, and you know, get refreshed, get the body right, and today we lifted and did a bunch of shooting and some dry offense, and then tomorrow we'll you know, put a plan together, knowing on whether we played Thursday or Friday. So we'll put a plan together tonight and go accordingly by that.
Brad, I think it was after the Ohio State game, you had kind of gotten together with your staff, or at least you told us you got together with your staff and said, hey, give me 3 or 4 things that we really struggle with, that we need to figure out before we hit the NCAA tournament. Can you comment on how that's going since then, and how you guys have handled what you think you're going to be able to face?
Well, number one was picking pop fives, and we did a pretty good job against Iowa in that area, and that was just something we don't see a ton in this league, but we had a stretch coming up where we were going to see a bunch, and with Penn State, with Ohio State obviously hurt us, and then you know, the Iowa playing small, so we spent a good amount of time on that. Simply our ball screen coverages on the ball, and then continually our transition defense. So we're getting better in all this.
Looks like Lamont Harris has built the mocks better each year for the 5 years he's been there. Do you have any relationship with him or any of the assistants?
I just know of him. I don't know. I haven't dove into. I wasn't going to waste my time getting into 6 teams or 7 teams till I actually knew who it was. So, you know, I know he was in Wisconsin for a long time. He's done a great job. It's historically been a very good program, and you know, he's to be commended.
How's Jacob?
Progressing.
Brady mentioned about the last couple of years, being took off last year in the Big Ten tournament. How do you use that as fuel for your guys, but also not have that pressure of trying to make up for the last 2 years of this opportunity?
Yeah, I think the one thing that we've got to do is just go have fun. You know, I think one of the great things about the NCAA tournament is it happens so fast, and if you don't just enjoy it, but you got to have fun. And I mean, our practices are going to be very, very competitive. They're going to be very light, and we're going to have fun. And you know, we've got to play. You know, I looked at a deal yesterday, and our 2 lowest offensive efficiency games are Rutgers and the Indiana game, or 2 of the 3, and they're also our fewest turnover games. Played too tentative, too, and we're not doing that. We're not going to this tournament doing that. We're going to go let it fly. We're going to have fun. We're going to compete, and we're going to execute, and we're going to play hard, and you know, we've got to play that way. We've got to enjoy the moment.
Coach, their top player, Malachi Smith, is from here at Melville West, a couple state championships. Were you familiar with him?
I've seen him a lot.
And, yeah.
I recruited a guy called E.J. Liddell.
Yes.
I think he was an all-league guy. He was really good. Malachi, if I'm not mistaken, I think he started out at Wright State, I think. But Malachi was a really good player. He has great size. I mean, you average 20 points a game as a Division I basketball player. You know what you're doing. And so, very familiar with him. You know, and obviously Silvio, you know, I know about. So, you know, other than that, everything's very superficial what I'm talking about right now. I just haven't dug into all their stuff. But yeah, he was a terrific player. He was a state champion. He won, and good player.
When you were recruiting Kofi to return for this junior season, you talked a lot about legacy, I'm sure. What's the importance of him kind of just seizing this moment and playing well in this first game, and obviously any games after that?
That's what makes March great. You know, you can elevate, you can make yourself legendary in March, and he's got that opportunity. And you know, that's helping our team win, and those are all the things that he prides himself on. So I'm excited to see him.
When Kofi says you guys haven't peaked yet, what's your thought on trying to find that now in this tournament, survive in advance, and try to hit that top level?
Well, with the emergence of Coleman, getting him back, I feel better about our basketball team right now than I felt in a long time. And that's saying that after we missed 10 free throws, 10 layups, 3 dunks, and still had a chance to win a game against a team that's really hot. I mean, still had a chance to win a game. And, but I feel great. I mean, I think we've been guarding better. I mean, you know, Xavier Johnson's 5 of 15 in the ball screen coverage was better. I mean, it was little things and it was just didn't help that we had pink eye going around our team and everything else, and that's why Trent and Coleman are in sunglasses, and I should be. I've got it in both my eyes. It's just weird. It was a weird day. So.
Did you tell the guys or give the guys advice for how to, I mean, it's just such a kind of a muted business-like reaction. Was that just just having a bunch of dudes who've been around for a while, or what do you put into that?
Yeah, I didn't make too much out of it. I think they're excited. You know, this team's always been at their best when it's very businesslike. You know, and it was, you know, going to Michigan and wearing business suits, you know, on the trip. And that's who this team is. They're still a lot of fun, but that's what this team is.
Who is it on your staff that put together those folders, and when do you start that, and how many, or do you kind of wait so it's not 15 or 20 teams?
Yeah, Zach Hamer gets most of the responsibility with that. He and Tyler, Patrick Biddle, you know, just in terms of, you know, starting to analyze, you know, where it can be. There's, you know, obviously a ton of analytics formulas out there. You look at all the gurus and their brackets, but we had a pretty good idea where we were going based on the analytics, and Zach was behind most of it.
Brady mentioned the emergence of Coleman and Corbello, seems like the last couple of games as well. What does that do for your team going in, given that they feel like they're starting to feel more comfortable?
Well, I think it was evident. I mean, the one thing Dre gives us is a great push in transition. You know, our ability to get easy baskets with him is tremendous. You know, the other thing is it enhances our rebounding. You know, it's no coincidence. Bello had 10, you know, the other day. He was our leading rebounder in our last 5 games last year. And that allows us to get out and run and push. You know, Coleman is a very, very good rebounder. You know, Coleman, and I've said it all along, he's a very good shooter. He's just got to believe it. And now he's shooting the cover off of it. You know, and you know, Bello had a very uncharacteristic day, and missing some layups, but his ability to live in the paint, helps us a lot.
With the way the tournament format works, do you guys talk about trying to win 6 in a row, or do you guys break it down with just win 2 in a row, take a breath, win 2 in a row, take a breath, win 2 in a row, take a breath?
Win 1 in a row.
Oh.
Win 1. And if you start looking at the next one, our assistant coaches will obviously have to work a little bit ahead for the next opponent, but it's never brought up to our players. It's not, we didn't do that last year with Drexel. Thinking, well, it's prepare, execute, win, and it's a very quick celebration, and then it's on to the next, and that's what the NCAA tournament is on to the next, survive in advance, and you have to have that mentality.
Brett, what have you learned about playing in the NCAA tournament? Have you always had that fun approach, so to speak, like you talk about, or are you changed from your time at SFA or Oklahoma State or to where you are now?
No, we had a blast at SFA. I mean, we were, I actually changed a lot there, just in terms of kind of livening it up. You don't want to go in and play with pressure. You don't want to go in. You want to go in with energy. You want to go in with excitement. And really, this past season was kind of the first time I felt like we didn't have that. But we were in the bubble. We weren't here. We'll get our guys going and cranked up now that we can be in our practice facility and have some of the tools and music but it's just fun. But you got to make it fun. You got to make it fun. You got to get these guys hyped and excited about the challenge ahead.
You mentioned Tyler was the only player last year that had played in the NCAA tournament. Now you have a whole crew returning. What does that hurt that they felt last year? How does that impact this year's run?
I hope a lot. Because that's you just don't know what it's like to walk off the court and then realize that you're going to do nothing with that group of guys again. That it will be completely different. And it ends just like that. And, to walk back in there an hour later and still see guys in tears, still see guys in uniform, that stinks. And you work so hard to get to those moments. And you have to understand what that's like to not be your best, and that's sure not taking anything away from the opponent, but it's can't happen. It can't happen. You gotta maximize your opportunities.
Coach, seems like guard play is always really important in postseason. It's kind of amplified a little bit. Would you agree with that? And how does that benefit your team with the experience that you have at guard?
No, I agree with that, and I think it's I think you've got to have guys who can go make shots, not afraid to make clutch plays, and traditionally in the NCAA tournament, the game slows down, becomes harder to play. You see less substitutions. The media timeouts are longer. You see the best players on the court more often, and so it becomes just a pretty the best against the best. I mean, for a lot of times, there's just less substitutions, and so the game slows down, and you've got to have good guards and guys that can go make plays. And man, I'll put our guards up there with anybody.
You talk a lot about how experience is important in the NCAA tournament and having an understanding of the abruptness at the end, like you say. Last year's team didn't understand that, but this year's team is older and they've got that kind of experience. Does that create a certain sense of urgency within the leadership of the team to kind of share that knowledge?
They'll share it. As we just talked about that with our guys, and making sure that RJ, Luke, Pods, they need those young guys need to know what and hear about the stories of what that felt like last year. And urgency, I don't know if I would use that term, but I think there's, it's what makes March Madness the best sporting event ever. And it's just you've got to go perform, and you can call it urgency, you can call it a sense of being your best, whatever you want to call it, however you want to label it. You got to be good that night or you get beat.
Brad, I know the timing of this question probably isn't ideal, but your alma mater came open. There seems to be some buzz from the state of Kansas that they would be interested in talking with you. How do you approach that? I mean, just knowing that you have a lot of business here.
I don't. I'm, you know, one, I would never discuss anything professionally with you guys like that, but man, I love Illinois. We got the best fans. We got a great boss. We got top 10 program. We're winning Big Ten championships. We're winning championships. So I'm very singular, as you guys know, and I can't control what people say and people think, and but that's, I'm not worried about that.
Along those lines with experience, we talked about the players' experience, but how important is it for the coach to have tournament experience? And how does that impact the continuity, kind of staying along the same path that you were in the regular season and taking that into the postseason?
Yeah, I think every game's different. I think there's, I was blessed. I won my first game. It's a different. The NCAA tournament will be a different experience for our guys this year than it was last year. I mean, last year we walked into a building with nobody, and no crowd and no atmosphere, and you get the police escorts and you get all of that, and it's just a different vibe, and it's the way you're treated, the way, it's different. But the 40-minute game is coaching, and I don't think there's a huge amount of experience from the sideline that that matters. We've all coached enough games now that we'll figure that out.
You've kind of mentioned it before, but if you had to describe what the difference of the practices leading up to, say, when you played Drexel last year, and how they're going to be constructed to what you're going to do this year, how would you describe it?
Well, we were in the convention center last year,
Right.
and we were coming out of, last year we never got to even celebrate the championship. I mean, they gave us a Chick-fil-A sandwich and sent us to testing and quarantine. And we didn't even see each other. We get a knock on the door, there's your breakfast. Knock on the door, there's your lunch. And it was fabulous because we got to play.
Right.
And then we're playing at the convention center. We walk through a hallway, they tell us we're on court 26, and you practiced. And now you've got some ability to process, to be around your guys, to wind them up, to you've got a limited time because Team B's coming on, and so it's just a completely different. We're on spring break. We'll go twice tomorrow, and getting lifts in and going to the weight room and having guys together and connected. It's apples and oranges, to be honest.
When we got to going from city to city, you've done it before. And what's it like on those flights and those trips versus you're stuck in a room? What did they miss out on last year, just in that experience?
The biggest thing we missed out on was we didn't get to come home and celebrate. We didn't get to do that. And you guys got to understand, that was the beauty of Sunday. Winning the Big Ten regular season, we got to have that moment and celebrate. And you have to, if you can't do that in this business, then man, this business will eat you up, and it just becomes a relief then to win. And it's not going to be that. I don't ever want to do that. I don't want it to be a relief to win. I want it to be fun and energetic. We never got to do that last year. And then come home and get on the plane, and Joey Biggs is over busting his tail right now trying to figure out, okay, how are we getting to Pittsburgh, and you work with the NCAA and all their people, and they send you the charter and this and that, and it's just different. It's apples and oranges. It's really, and I use that term a couple times, it's just different.
Didn't you tell a story about you kind of learning that lesson at Western? Like you were going to go back and do a bunch of studying, and they told you to enjoy it. Is that an important thing to pass down? You got a younger coaching staff here. It's
huge. I coached 10 years at Western. We never got to the tournament. At SFA, they'd been one other time before I got there, and it's hard. man, I mean, everybody just takes winning for granted, and you know, there's very few programs that have the ability to do that multiple years in a row. And you know, so you better enjoy it, because tomorrow's sure not given, and being good, being a 1 seed and a 4 seed, and you know, we'd have been a 4 or 5 probably the year before, and come on, man, we were playing, you know, we've been pretty doggone good, and you got to enjoy those moments.
Anything else?
Sorry.
You're good. When you kind of think about what this moment means to a lot of these players who maybe haven't had it as a big group with the cameras and everything here to make it a big celebration, what does it mean to have it today with everyone here as a big group? Does it mean a little bit more than maybe it did last year? Obviously 2 years ago you didn't have it.
I think it's an important piece of the NCAA tournament, is the selection show, and you're together and you're doing that. And you know, I don't know, somebody made the comment, or Kim, maybe you know, last year when the selection show was going on, it was kind of down the net. You know, we didn't even know who we did. They threw something on a board, you know, said, hey, Illinois is a 1 seed and we'll play Drexel. I mean, all the while you're trying to celebrate getting your trophy. And so this was a different experience, and I think it's a big part of the tournament. I think it's a powerful part of the tournament, and it's something that, okay, hey, we met in State Farm Center, and when it came on, we were watching it on the big board, and this is what, and okay, it's part of it. It's a big part.
Coach, one of the most debated players among the fan base, Andre Curbelo. Are you in a good place with him as far as how he's playing and his usage rate? Do you feel it's about right now?
I feel great about it. I mean, you got coast to coast in less than 3.5 seconds and missed a layup that he would make 99% of the time. He's outstanding defensively. He graded out better than anybody else. He got 10 rebounds. You know, he's had a very challenging year. There's no doubt about that. You know, most people, you know, want to criticize or whatever. Man, I love that kid, and I appreciate his competitiveness and his desire to win. And you know, he's unparalleled in that area.
Apart from cough, sniffles, and blurry eyes, how do you feel?
Not good. Because of this, great, because of what I feel about my team. I mean, I've never felt better about my team, and I feel this team is despite. I think there's a lot of positives that come from that they can come from getting a couple days rest, getting your mind right, and been through that experience many times, and so I feel great, and I feel great about how they're playing. The emergence of Coleman Hawkins is becoming one of the, you know, not just one of our better players, but you know, one of the better guys out there. So Curbelo's playing great. You know, we missed some shots the other night, and Plummer had an unusual night. Trent had pink eye, and you know, so we dealt with some tough breaks, but I feel great about it.
But are you going to be good to go tomorrow?
I will be absolutely good to go.
After having gone through the 20-game gauntlet of this league, to not see one team on the 1 or the 2 line, is it pretty much accurate to kind of say you guys cannibalized each other in terms of?
We do that every year.
Yeah.
And did we get 9 in?
Yeah.
So I saw some stuff on the bubble, and to think that Rutgers was on the bubble. I mean, I know they had a tough preseason. My gosh, are they good? But I think there's value in the fact we got 9 teams in. You know, I think it's you know, you just refresh back to the preseason and how everybody was convinced that, you know, Purdue was unbeatable, and how good they are, and they are really good. And you know, you just, it's brutal. It's brutal. It's not like anything I've ever seen in basketball. Going through this league, there are no cupcakes, and the coaching and the venues and the fans are unbelievable. So, you know, we would all like to be higher, but we got 9 in. I think it speaks volumes to the coaches in this league and the toughness and the grit that each of these programs show. And you know, I think we got multiple teams that can make a deep run.